Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome to Microsoft Playwright Automation tutorial. I have received a lot of requests from my YouTube subscribers to cover the automation concepts by using Playwright Automation tool. So I'm gonna post around 20 to 30 YouTube videos from here onwards covering different concepts of Playwright Automation tool. So this is our lesson 1 where I'm going to introduce you to the Playwright automation tool, and then I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to give you an overview of this Playwright automation tool. I'm going to tell you what are all the amazing features as compared to typical automation tools like Selenium, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and then Puppeteer. So basically, what are all the advantages, what are all the best features that are available in Playwright compared to other automation tools that are available in market. So Playwright has a lot of advantages over Selenium, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and then Puppeteer. So all these amazing features I'm gonna teach you in detail in this particular session. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you. So Playwright has amazing features as compared to typical automation tools like Selenium, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and Puppeteer. Okay, so basically it has a lot of advantages over different automation tools like Selenium, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and Puppeteer. I'm going to cover all those advantages while explaining the overview of the Playwright. And Playwright is developed by Microsoft but built by Puppeteer team. So if you know about the Puppeteer is actually built by Google, okay, which works only on Chromium based browsers, whereas Playwright works on different browsers like Chromium or Firefox or WebKit. Okay, I'm going to explain what are these browser context and everything. Okay, and then it has a very active community. Okay, so let me just show you. Let us visit a community, Microsoft GitHub community. Okay, let's go to Google and just search as Playwright GitHub. So as soon as you search Playwright GitHub, so you can just open your first link, GitHub. Okay, so basically this is a very active community, and see, if you see, it has entire code base. If you see here, Microsoft Playwright, it's official GitHub location where it has entire code base. Okay, so if you see here, see, there is one code check-in yesterday. You have yesterday 43 minutes back, right? Packages, there is a change in packages, there is a change in tests. So that means it's very active community. Okay, they keep making changes and they keep checking the code in the GitHub. Okay, and then so let's go back to again and let's visit a Playwright official website. Okay, so let's visit Playwright official website. So you just need to enter playwright.dev, or you can just enter playwright tool. Okay, so which gives you the first one, playwright.dev. This is their official site. Open this official site and you have entire information. So basically the documentation is very good. Okay, I'm gonna explain you now what are all the advantages and what Playwright enables for your end-to-end testing for modern web apps. Okay, I'm going to explain one by one by showing this official website. Okay, so let's see the in detail. Okay, what are all the advantages of Playwright, and then what are all the features that are available in the Playwright. Okay, so if you scroll down, so it supports all these browsers: Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, Opera, right? And then so basically any browser, any platform, one API. So cross browser. So Playwright supports all modern rendering engines including Chromium, WebKit and Firefox. So what do you mean by Chromium? Chromium is basically Chromium based browsers like Chrome and Edge or Opera. Okay, Chrome, Edge, Opera, they all use Chromium based. They are actually Chromium based browsers. And then WebKit is actually, it's related to Safari. So Safari uses WebKit. And then Firefox is a Mozilla. Okay, so it supports all these modern rendering engines. Okay, and then cross platform. So you can test your application on Windows, Linux or Mac OS locally or by using CI, right? And then headless or headed. That means, so you can basically run your tests with Chrome, Edge, Firefox and Safari either by using headless or by using head. Okay, with your browser or without browser. So basically, if you remember, Cypress, right, does not support WebKit. And then it also, basically this particular Playwright supports your WebKit also. That means Safari, Apple Safari. And you can run Apple Safari headless also. Okay, so that's the very good advantage of your Playwright compared to Cypress and Selenium. And then cross language. This is one very strong feature provided by Playwright. So you can use Playwright API in different languages like TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, .NET and Java, right? And then you can, so basically you can write any language to build your automation suite, to build your automation tests by using Playwright. Okay, and then test mobile web. So basically it supports your all Google Chrome or for Android and then mobile Safari. So basically for Apple, you can test your Safari, and then for Android mobiles, you can use your Google Chrome. Basically it's web-based applications only. So it will not support your apps, okay, native apps. And resilient and no flaky tests. Why? Because it has auto wait. So Playwright, that is one good advantage of Playwright. Playwright waits for elements to be actionable prior to performing any action. So that means when you automate your test case, so while executing your test case, it waits for the elements to be actionable prior to perform any action. Okay, it also has a rich set of inspection events. So the combination of these two eliminates need of artificial timeouts. So because it has its own auto waits, right? Playwright waits for the elements automatically. So it has auto wait function. It has auto wait advantage. That's the reason so basically you need not to wait for the artificial timeouts. Okay, so that's the reason there is no flaky tests. So if you remember, most of the automation frameworks, right? So whenever you automate your test cases by using Selenium, Cypress and all these things, so the test cases generally fails because the corresponding element is not available. By the time the element is not loaded or your page is not responding, by the time your test case will fail. But here Playwright has auto wait option. It automatically waits for the element to be actionable. Okay, that's the very good advantage. And then web first assertions. So Playwright assertions are created specifically for dynamic web. Checks are automatically retried until the necessary conditions are met. So basically, how can you use your Playwright assertions? I'm going to show you once we start our practical sessions. Okay, tracing. Configure test retry strategy. Capture execution traces, video, screenshots. So basically, whenever you automate your test cases, you can basically capture your screenshots or you can record your videos to eliminate your flakes. So because by using your captured screenshots, by using captured videos while execution, so you can easily identify, debug where the test case got failed, what is the reason of failure and all these things. Okay, so no trade-offs, no limits. So browsers run web content. So basically no trade-offs, no limits for the Playwright. So let's go multiple everything. So test scenarios that span multiple tabs. This is very strong features provided by Playwright compared to your Selenium and Cypress. Okay, so multiple everything. Test scenarios that span multiple tabs, multiple regions, and multiple users, create scenarios with different contexts for different users and run them against your server all in one test. What do you mean by that? Okay, test scenarios that span multiple tabs. So basically you can execute your test cases in multiple browser tabs, n number of browser tabs. Let's say in one tab I want to automate Google, in another tab I want to immediately switch to Twitter, another tab I want to immediately switch to LinkedIn. So basically your test case flows through these different tabs and different websites. So you can simply automate, you can simply directly redirect your automation script to different tabs. So that's the advantage. You can directly work on multiple tabs in single instance. Okay, and then multiple origins and multiple users. What do we mean by that? Let's say I have my application which is a role based application. I need to test my application by using admin role, by using super user role, by using normal user. Okay, so if that is the case, you can simply log in one tab. You can log in by using admin. In another tab you can log in by using super user. In another tab you can log in as a guest. So basically it supports, you can directly automate your test scenarios by using multiple users, right, and run them against your server all in one test. In one test itself you can do your role based testing also. That is very good advantage which does not have Cypress. Okay, and then trusted events. So trusted events, however elements interact with dynamic controls, produce trusted events. So Playwright uses real browser input pipeline distinguishable from the real users. Okay, so I'm going to teach about the trusted events, like how elements interact with dynamic controls, when I teach you the different types of concepts while doing our practical sessions. Okay, and then time frame peers shadow DOM. Okay, so Selenium also supports shadow DOM, but even Playwright selectors peers shadow DOM, and also allow entering frames seamlessly, basically iframes, right? You have iframes in your web while developing. There are a lot of objects that contains iframes. Okay, so it seamlessly interact with your iframes and shadow DOMs. Okay, and then full isolation, fast execution. So this is another very good strength of your Playwright over Cypress and Selenium. Okay, browser context. So Playwright creates a browser context for each test. Browser context is equivalent to a brand new browser profile. So Playwright is a fast, very fast. All the executions, script executions are very fast compared to Cypress and your Selenium, because it creates a browser context for each test, but it creates a browser context equivalent to a brand new browser profile. That means it's equivalent. It creates a replica of your browser. It's not creating the actual browser. So that delivers full test isolation with zero overhead. Okay, so creating a new browser context is, let's say Selenium or your Cypress takes 100 milliseconds. So it takes only 1 millisecond. So that easy it is to create your browser context, and your test scripts also will run very fast. Okay, and then login. And one more thing is creation of the browser context. I'm going to teach you while explaining the practical sessions. Okay, so to create your browser context, you need to install the binaries, WebKit binary, Firefox binaries, and Chromium binaries. Okay, I'm going to explain about these binaries also in my next session while explaining the architecture. Okay, architecture of your Playwright. So login once, save the authentication state of your context and reuse it in all the tests. So this bypass repetitive login operations in each test. What do you mean by that? Okay, so whenever you automate your test cases, right, generally you need to define some method to perform login function, and then also you need to write a method to logout function, because for every test case you're going to log in first and then execute your test cases and log out. So you need to call these login method and logout method for every test case. So it's going to avoid creating your methods, login and repetitive methods, and it's going to avoid calling those repetitive methods. Save the application state of your context and reuse it in all the tests. So this bypasses repetitive login operations. So basically you need not to log in repetitively for each test, yet it delivers full isolation of independent tests. So that is one good advantage. Okay, and okay, so now I covered all these, right? I covered all these. Yes, I covered all these. Yeah, and then let's go to powerful tooling. So Codegen. So Playwright has one more very good advantage over your Cypress. Okay, there is a code generator. So you can generate tests by recording your actions, save them into any language. So basically, for Selenium, you can record. It saves into one language. But here, by using Codegen Playwright, you can generate tests by recording your actions, and you can convert or you can save those actions in any language. Either you can save them in Java, or you can save them in .NET, or you can save them in Python, JavaScript, right? So you can save in all the languages that it supports. And then Playwright Inspector. So it also provides a Playwright Inspector where you can basically inspect your pages, generate selectors, step through the test execution, see click points, explore execution logs. Okay, by using your inspector, you can inspect all the elements, and also it supports all types of locators. Okay, and then trace viewer. Capture all the information to investigate test failures. As I told you earlier, you can capture all the information in the form of screenshots and videos. So okay, Playwright Trace contains test execution, screencast, live DOMs, snapshots, action explorer, test source, and many more. Okay, so you can basically debug your failures by using screenshots and DOMs, snapshots, and your video recordings also. So those are all the different advantages, or those are all the different features provided by Playwright. Okay, so let us go back to let's go back here again. So if you see here, if you are go to API, okay, in the API, if you want to see the documentation, it has a very good documentation. I'm telling you guys, if you want to see the documentation in Java, you can just select Java. If you see the documentation in .NET, you can select your .NET or Python in the same way. So it has all the documentation here. If you see, go to docs, right? So here it explains getting started installation. Let me explain very high level. How can you install your Playwright? How difficult it is to install? How easy it is to install your Playwright? Okay, and then let's see the basic test. How can you write? Okay, installation of your Playwright. So it's pretty simple. Okay, let's select my Java language, because I'm gonna upload all the sessions of our Playwright by using Java language. Okay, if you want to use other languages, you can use, that's not a problem, but all the concepts are similar. Okay, so if you go here, installation, if you go to POM XML, okay, there is a small dependency called Playwright dependency. Okay, you just need to install, you just need to put this dependency in your POM XML of your project, Java project. Okay, you just simply copy this dependency, and then you need to paste this dependency in the POM XML. Okay, so once you paste the dependency on your project POM XML file, it simply downloads all the dependencies related to Playwright. Okay, that simple it is. And let's go back to app Java. Okay, let's see a basic example of your JavaScript. Okay, so let's go to one slide which I have prepared earlier. Okay, let me open the slide. Okay, so this is one sample code. Okay, so let me explain this. Okay, first you will be adding the dependency. As soon as you add the dependency, it's going to import your Microsoft.playwright dependency. Okay, and here it's a simple main method. Okay, where I'm writing the main method, and then here playwright equal to playwright.create. What I'm doing, I'm starting the Playwright server first. I'm going to create the Playwright server and start the Playwright server, because as you do in the Selenium, right, you just create your Chrome driver or Chrome driver server, correct? So in the same way, you need to create or start your Playwright server, and then you need to initiate browser context. So how can you initiate the browser context? So to initiate your browser context, the precondition is you need to make sure that your Chromium binary is available in your system. It's not only Chromium browser, because I'm using Chromium here, browser Chromium, right? Chromium browser means Chromium browser comes under Chrome and Edge and Opera. All these uses your Chromium, okay, context. And here binary files, either you need to make sure that your Chromium binary file is available, or Firefox file is available, or your WebKit is available. So WebKit is for Safari, Apple Safari, and binary related to Firefox is for Mozilla Firefox, and Chromium is for your Edge, Opera, and Chrome. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you download these binaries. I'm going to explain about binaries, how to download your binaries more while explaining next session architecture. I'm going to explain you guys in the next session in detail the architecture of your Playwright, where I'm going to teach you about binaries, and then I'm going to show you how can we download the binaries in while explaining the practical sessions. Okay, so you're going to initiate your browser context, and once you initiate your browser context, you're going to initiate the page context, right? So once you initiate your page context, and then you can perform all the actions in the page, like navigate, page dot, same like driver.get, right? This is in the same way in the Selenium we call it as driver.get. Here we call it as page.navigate, and then you can just provide your URL, and then you can get the title, or you can input the text, or you can click on the locator. All these actions can be written here. Okay, so basically you are first creating and initiating your Playwright server, and then you are initiating the browser context after downloading the binaries of Chromium, Safari, WebKit, Chromium, WebKit, and Firefox, right? And then you are going to initiate page context. Okay, and also this particular Playwright supports, as I told you, headless mode and head mode. So basically you can execute without showing the browser or with showing the browser, and headless mode and head mode are also supported for the WebKit, that means Apple Safari. So you can write your scripts on Windows on Apple Safari, on Windows itself. You need not to go to Apple. So Cypress, it does not support your Windows, does not support Safari on Windows. So here on Windows itself, you can simply automate your test cases on Apple Safari by using WebKit, and then you can execute them in headless mode also and head mode also. So in the same way, Cypress is not supporting headless mode for the Safari also, right? And also it supports beta version of browsers. Let me explain what do you mean by that. Okay, so let's say all your test cases are automated on Chrome version 98. Okay, 98 version, you automated all the test cases. So in future, you got to know that Chrome is actually releasing version 99. Let's assume. Okay, so before they release actual version 99, they generally release Chrome version 99 beta version. Correct? So now by using Playwright, you can directly run. Let's say you built 100 to 200 test scripts, automated test cases. So you can run those automated test cases on beta version itself before they releases the next version. On beta version, you run everything, and then you can simply resolve all the issues that you encounter in the beta version. If then development need to do some code changes, they can do code changes, and so that you can make sure that all your test cases are passed, all your automated test cases are passed. So by that time you will be ready, right? So once the Chrome releases their next version, you can simply reuse those your test cases. You can run on the latest version. So how easy it is for you to tackle the latest version of the browsers. Anything, Firefox latest version, Chrome latest version, you can directly start working on beta versions itself. Okay, so Playwright supports working on beta versions as well. That is one good advantage. and then test generator. I already explained you about test generator. Okay, let me go back to here again, documentation. If you see, go to test generator. So what do you mean by test generator? So basically, as I told you earlier, Playwright has a tool, test generator tool, where you can record your test. And while recording your actions, you can convert those actions into multiple languages. You can save those actions. If you want to save them into Java, you can save them. If you want to save them in Python, you can save them. Okay, let me show you how it works very high level in the official site. Okay, simply if you see, if you are performing any action, one of the website, right side you see, it is actually generating the code. So you can perform the actions on your web. Once you start the recordings, if you see here, it is you started the recording here. Whatever the actions you are performing, it is generating the code. You can generate the code in Java. You can generate the code in .NET. You can generate the code in Python. Whatever the code you want to generate, you can simply generate and then stop your recording, right? And then you can copy the code, and then you can, let's say if you are using a Java, you can simply copy the code and paste it into Eclipse and start running the scripts. So how easy it is. Okay, so that is the easy. Okay, and I already explained about installation and then simple usage, correct? And one more thing, as I already explained you can simply also run your test scripts. Let's say here I explained about Chromium, right? You can run your test scripts on WebKit also. How? This is sample. This is your sample where you'll be, instead of while initiating the browser context, you are going to initiate WebKit instead of your Chromium, correct? Instead of Chromium, you can simply initiate your WebKit. So then all the scripts will be running on your Safari on Windows itself. Okay, and also if you see here, by default Playwright runs browsers on headless mode. By default it runs on headless. If you want to run on head, you can make your set headless as false. Simple. So it start creating your browser. You can see visually on the browser. Okay, you can run on the script. So your even Safari, for the Safari you can simply mention headless as false and you can see your browser. Okay, so that's the advantage. And one more thing is, let's go back to so to open your test runner, right, you can simply, there is CLI commands where you can add those CLI commands in the command prompt, and you can simply copy those CLI commands and paste it on the CMD command prompt. It opens your recorder, simple recorder. Okay, let's go here, let's check generator. If you see here, let me show you, scroll down, this is your CLI, simple CLI command. Copy this CLI command, paste it in the command prompt, and then hit enter. That opens your test generator, this recorder. Okay, simple. And then again, let's go back to, let me explain about browsers. So as I told you, it supports all the browsers. Okay, you can install your binaries. As I told you, you need to download Chromium, WebKit and Firefox binaries. Okay, so as I told you how to download the binaries, I'm going to explain. There are different methods. Okay, either, see, generally whenever you run your Playwright scripts on your system, what it does, it automatically checks for the binaries in your system first. Okay, if the binaries are not downloaded into your system, if the binaries are not exist in your system, what it will do, it's going to contact the server, Playwright server, and it's going to interact with those binaries, and then it's going to download the latest version of binaries in your system. Let's say for the next time, if when you are running the scripts, right, if those binaries are already available in the system, it's not going to download binaries again. Okay, so it's one time activity. If your system contains binaries, it's not going to download the binaries. And then if your system does not contain the binaries, it's going to download the binaries, and then it's going to initiate your browser context. Okay, I'm going to explain all this regarding the binaries in my next session, while explaining the detailed architecture of your Playwright. Okay, and if you see, you have all the documentation. You can explore all the documentation here, right? How can these locators, let's go back to locators. Okay, what are all the different locators it supports? It supports all the locators seamlessly. iframe locators, hover locators, right? Hover locators, you see frames also it supports. It's really supports lot of locators. All the DOM objects you can directly interact from the DOM. A lot of locators it supports compared to your Selenium and Cypress. Okay, and frames, how to handle the frames, you have everything, right? Page object models it supports. Screenshots, how can you take your screenshots, right? All these documentation is available officially on the site. Okay, um, let me, I think we almost covered everything what we are supposed to cover. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything, right? Yeah, we covered everything. Okay, so if you have any queries, you can just leave your queries in the comment box. I'll try to respond to your queries. Hope you all understand the concepts. So in my next sessions, right, I'm gonna put another session on architecture of Playwright. I'm going to explain in detail the architecture and the advantage of the architecture over your Selenium and your Cypress or any WebDriver IO, right? Any other competitive tools available in the market. Okay, and then we'll move on to the practical sessions where I'm going to teach you all different concepts. How can you write, how can you automate your different test cases by using Playwright. Okay, so hope you all understand the concepts. Hope you all understand the overview of the Playwright automation tool and what are all the different strengths, what are all the amazing features the Playwright tool has over your Selenium, Cypress, WebDriver IO, and then Puppeteer. Okay, and why does this Playwright is having the increasing demand in the market as an automation tool? Okay, so please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Thank you.